At 10 News Weather Authority from the JES Weather Center.
Good evening, everybody. I'm meteorologist Edward Shaw. Looking outside right now over Poor Mountain, you can still see where that snowfall and that ice lingering in place throughout our region. We saw a little bit of melting today, but as we got above freezing for the first time in quite some time. But as we go into the overnight hours, dropping right back below freezing, which is going to lead to that risk for some refreezing within our area. So thinking rather than a more visible snow and ice threat, this time some of that snow melt likely going to form into black ice, which is typically really hard to see both on the sidewalks and possibly on some of those back roads that might need a little bit more attention in terms of plowing. Going into the early week, we're a little bit warmer, and I say that sarcastically as it doesn't take much to get warmer than what we just were. But by later on into the weekend, looking at another Arctic blast coming into the picture, this time a little bit more of a calmer blast than what we've seen here previously. Looking at satellite radar, here's what I want you to notice. You look further down into our area, you see that cold front starting to pass through the Midwest, but then looking further into parts of the Star City and most of the East Coast, you see some of that snowfall actually on satellite. It's how widespread it is. Carolinas got hammered with snowfall over the last couple of days. But again, we're going to start seeing this melt a little bit more as we slowly trend warmer for the week before that cold front arrives and brings us some more cold air. Tonight, dropping down into the 20s here already by about 9 p.m. And as we go into the overnight hours into Tuesday, we start seeing a little bit more cloud cover build in by the afternoon tomorrow. Notice the temperature at this point, 44 degrees. So we're going to start seeing some snow melt, but then we have our next quick hitter of a system coming in tomorrow night and then into early on Wednesday. Now this system, snow and ice likely going to be limited to parts of the western slopes and further to the north. It's just going to be too warm for any snowfall accumulation. So this one appears likely to just bring in a little bit of rain. However, as we have with the snow melt, the rain could indeed refreeze with some overnight lows still getting to below 32 and lead to that black ice threat. Wednesday by 3 p.m., pretty overcast throughout most of the day and a little bit more on the cooler side before we start getting back into the 40s here to close out this week before that next Arctic blast arrives, but for the weekend. Your 10 to 10 for tomorrow, starting out a little bit on the breezier side with winds calming down as the day progresses, getting up to 44 by 4 p.m. here later on tomorrow. And as we look at tonight, we're going to drop into the teens and 20s. Roanoke at 22, Blacksburg 16, Lynchburg 18, South Boston 20, and Danville at 18. Tomorrow, we warm up into the 40s. Roanoke about 42, Blacksburg 39, Lynchburg 41, South Boston 45, and Danville at 43, making for a day that's going to be a tad bit warmer than where we were here for the last few. Again, thinking that quick hitter of a system comes in tomorrow night and then into early Wednesday morning, too warm for significant snowfall, and then we go into Friday with our next system before a chilly but clear weekend arrives. John, Rachel.